So this is how I converted a simple Excel template into a Power BI version in just a few steps. So without wasting time, let's get right into it. So over the weekend, we got a special request from a user in Saudi Arabia, and the request was very simple. They wanted us to convert their set of key performance indicators, which is being contained on Excel sheet, into a Power BI version because they understand the value of Power BI. This was the sheet they gave to us, and they have their lagging indicators in here. They have their manpowers here. They have their leading indicators. They have some key performance indicators related to contractor, HSE, and subcontractors. And then again, they provided us a specific colors that they want to use for this dashboard. All right. So these instructions were very clear to us. And again, they wanted a system where they can compare actual against target. I noticed there was a problem, and the problem was very simple. They could not build a continuous data set. What it meant is that as they are trying to track weekly, every week they have to create a copy of this sheet and input the value, and create another copy of the sheet for the subsequent week and input the value. So at the end of the day, they'll probably be having a lot of sheets within the workbook, and then they needed to find a way of consolidating all of those figures into another sheet over here. And upon checking, I even noticed that they don't even have the formulas in here for collating all those figures. So what it meant is that they were doing manual entry. So they were manually entering figures here, manually entering figures here, and that is a data problem we want to solve because we don't want manual entries that bring a lot of challenge when it comes to data analysis. All right. So what did I do? I simply converted this sheet as it's showing like this, right? Where to transpose across the worksheet like this, so that every column is dedicated to a KPI and they can actually build a continuous data set. So ability to build continuous data set gives room for analysis across multiple time frames. You could do weekly analysis, monthly analysis, quarterly analysis, and even yearly analysis, right? And because they wanted to compare actual against targets, we then provided another data structure for building targets, right? So they could build targets for a very long time, all right? And then again, they wanted to compare, a lot of projects, like they have a lot of projects. So we give them an approved list for them to provide their list of projects, which would be a control data entry over here because they have to select from a drop-down list, and that enables them to build a continuous data set with some level of clean data, in a sense that they're not going to be mistyping the project because they can only select from a drop-down list. And then the data types, they will have to just make sure it's the correct data type. So after building the structure of the template, we provided all the dummy data in there, and the next thing we did was to actually load it into Power Query. Now, before we get into Power Query, this is actually the results of what we did for them. So we created a very nice dashboard based on their brand colors as they requested, because they did specify the colors that they want to use. So we provided all the colors for their dashboard, basically this color, and we just make sure that the important parameters were right in there. So we have the totals for each of the lagging indicators, and we have the clustered column charts. We have the tree map over here that compares all of the lagging indicators in here, so that at a glance you can see which one is recording the highest. And then again, because they are trying to track targets against actual or actual against target, we need to bring in a target dashboard that looks like progress of each of the key performance indicator, right? And we had the actual here, the target here, and could get a percentage score. All right, so that's exactly what we did. And then we brought in all the various scores in here for comparison, so that at a glance they can see which of the KPI is performing much better. And over here is for the total injury frequency rate. So that's exactly what we did. Then again, we brought in the statistics because they wanted the statistics to be able to literally visualize, right? So then the statistics basically is here in terms of month, but they can actually drill down to quarter and then to year. And as I did mention, that the essence of building a continuous data set, because you're able to do analysis across multiple timelines, right? And then again, you can even do analysis across projects and all. So that's pretty much what we did for them. But how did we come about this dashboard? So let's go to the transform data. All right, so what we did was that we loaded basically this whole data set, this actual source data, the target source data, and approved list, all right, including the standard factor for calculating incident rate. We loaded it into Power Query. So before I can go into Power Query, let me just close this. We can go there without any issues. So basically, there's a preview of the target data. I'm going to be showing what we did with it. There's also the source data, right? The actual source data, and we have all the projects in there. The date is in the correct date format, and the manpower and everything. All of them are in the correct date format. And then the targets. So the targets, we had to do something different. Okay, what would you do with the targets? So let's open the sheet again and let's have a look at something. When we go to the target source data, you notice that we are setting yearly targets, which is very important because you don't want to be putting in too much effort when you are building your data. And then again, target is set on a yearly basis. You don't set targets on a monthly or weekly basis. You do that on a yearly basis. So once we set a target, given the fact that we've agreed, all right, so eventually we agreed that we're going to be introducing a monthly data point as opposed to weekly data points. So what we did was that once we loaded it into Power Query, we needed to divide each of this by the period of data point that we want. So the data point was monthly, right? So we want to divide this by month. So that's exactly what we did. And again, let's have a look at it again, in the sense that there was also no date. We only have, year. We only have year. So in order to compare the actual month against the target month, what it meant is that we need to find a way of converting this year into a proper date format so that we can extract month from the date, we can extract month from the date here, and then we could even extract quarter and all of that. So basically, when you come into the target, what we did was that we tried to introduce month number into the data set. The year is over here, and then we used a function to create a date format, the date that references the month number and the year, and we put just one as the day in there. So there's always one being captured as a day, and that automatically gives us the month, and we could even extract year out of it and all of that. All right, so we have the actual, we have the target, the standard factor was brought in there, the approved list is a list of the project, and then that was literally what we did with the data set that we loaded into Power Query. We closed it and then went to the data modeling to ensure that the relationship has been established. So with regards to relationship, we created our calendar table, and we have our approved list, we have our source data, which is a fact table, and we have a target source data, which is also a fact table. So we have two fact tables, and then we have the approved list and then the calendar, and then we establish the relationship. So the relationship, this one is basically one-to-one relationship because they're going both ways. The reason being that it's a unique list of dates, and then the date column that we have in there is also a unique list of dates, though there are instances where you could have duplicates and all of that, and in that sense the relationship could be one to many, but for now it's one to one. And over here the relationship is one to many. So that's pretty much what it is. Now we come to the report view. We created this beautiful dashboard, but before we could create this dashboard, what did we do? We created all the relevant DAX measures. So we come to basically the data section. We can look at the DAX measures that we created, right? So we started off with the actual KPIs. We use the sum function, the sum DAX function, right, to bring in all the actual KPIs. So actual of emergency drill, we brought all of that in there, right? And then we created the target as well. So the target, again, we use the sum function. Some of them that we are supposed to use average, we use the average, especially when it comes to percentages. We brought in all of that, and then we estimated the score. So the score is basically the divide function. We divided the actual by the target and you estimated it in percentage, and that's pretty much. And because you're going to be plotting progress charts, then we had to estimate the remainder, and that's exactly what we did. Okay, now we also did some conditional formatting, which over here to be able to estimate the maximum and the minimum. Okay, so that's pretty much what we did to give them this amazing dashboard. Okay, so enough of the DAX measures. Let's go back to the report view and let's hide formula bar and all of that, and let's try to look at it properly. Okay, so this is a beautiful dashboard that we created. Now the advantage of Power BI is the fact that you could have a web version of it. So once you publish a report, it goes onto the web, and this is the web version. So the web version is that you have access to a URL. You can actually share as report to your stakeholders, so users can actually engage with the report. But the thing is that they don't have to have access to the back end. They don't have to have access to the Excel file. All they need is just the Power BI version. So this is how I need to convert a boring Excel template into a Power BI version. Now come 2026, you want to do things differently. You want to bring something new to the table. You can put together a very well structured template based on a set of key performance indicators based on your company brand colors, and we can produce exact same dashboard for you or something a little bit different. My best offer for all of you is the fact that visit our website and go through our list of templates, because these templates will help you to hit the ground running in case you don't have the time to develop your own template. However, if you want to learn how to create your own template and even do your own analysis, then you may want to enroll in our Data Academy. Our Data Academy comes up every month, and we have two sessions. You have a Microsoft Excel for HS Data Analytics and Power BI for HSC Data Analytics, and this spans over a period of 7 days where I allocate 2 hours each. All right, so this is how we actually develop our data skills, and you can actually be part of our community where we challenge ourselves to practice HS Data, create dashboard every week. And in case you're not interested in our Data Academy and you don't even want to hit the ground running with our templates, then we can actually analyze the data for you. All right, so all you need to just get in touch with me and bring all your data set to us. We can extract the insight you need so you'll be able to have a very insightful report. All right, so we provide data visualization service that's supposed to help you to bring a lot more context to your data for decision making. All right, so thank you all for your attention. I'm going to see you guys in another video. Bye for now.